Ah, at request, I'm going to talk about the 8th Doctor audio drama Zagreus. Zagreus, I went into blind. So blind that, one big recommendation I need to make to you is, if you're starting out with Big Finish, don't start with this. It's very continuity heavy. Mainly, there's a story before it called Neverland. A story that I would review. I haven't listened to it. I don't know if I'll have the time. Maybe I'll find the time and review it later. But at the moment, I'm not seeing it. I will give it this. Here's the thing about Zagreus. Zagreus was celebrating. This is the 50th story in the monthly range of Big Finish audio dramas, and stars. Of course, it stars Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, but basically features everyone they had up to this point almost. Features the actors who played Doctors 6 through 7, but done in a weird way. It's tough to explain because there's a lot. It's a very big story. Tough to explain, yes, but not because it's complicated, but because it's somewhat goofy. Okay. So what because there's like a good 7-minute kind of like a previous recap to tell you what happened. To tell you what happened in Neverland. And to basically tell you that, and even slightly explain what Zagreus is. Zagreus is basically like a legendary Time Lord boogeyman who has a nursery rhyme. Zagreus, like, I can't even remember it, but again, legendary nursery rhyme. And he's some people don't even know if he exists. That's another big thing. And thanks to a strange occurrence that happens at the end of the previous story that takes place before this, the Doctor has actually become Zagreus. And I love Paul McGann's performance because he's playing a very crazy entity, basically describing what Zagreus is. Zagreus is not like a suave guy in a suit. He's the Hulk. He's a Time Lord version of the fucking Hulk. And they make him scary. I mean, the nursery rhyme, I've looked it up. Zagreus sits inside your head. Zagreus lives amongst the dead. Zagreus sees you in your bed and sees you when you're sleeping. That's somewhat of a creepy thing, but again, it's sung like any other nursery rhyme. Now, after that, to kind of protect her, her meaning the companion Charlie Pollard, who you need to have seen some stories with her, at least maybe, because the only one I've seen that takes place before this is still Neverland. I need to see some earlier ones still. Sorry. But you get an idea about her character. She's a young girl who, in a way, her relationship, I describe it a lot like the Amy Pond 11th Doctor relationship currently. Except there's a weird there's something stranger about it. Like, there's a time paradox, kind of, but it's not the same way. But the way they act as good friends, never treated romantically, but as just good friends, you buy that. Which is hilarious, because this is the Doctor who's yelled at a lot because he kissed a girl twice in his only appearance. And kissed her like a grade schooler, too. But basically the Tardis sets this strange kind of projection that does two things. One, allow her to kind of hide away from the Doctor, and two, explain what this strange entity called a divergence is. It's this massive thing that was hidden by the time. It's complicated, but it was something dealt by the Time Lords. And at the end of this story, will become a major part of the audio dramas, like a big thing. I don't want to entirely explain why, but it leads into these strange adventures, partially inspired by Alice in Wonderland. There's a big Alice in Wonderland kind of influence here, but that is where she meets all these different characters played by actors who have played companions in Big Finish before and doctors, and talking about the three actors playing I don't know how to explain it, but the actors who have played doctors, basically, the thing I love about them is they're completely morphed into these characters, and not really, like, the way they're written, and even the way they're written up front, they're not the characters. Peter Davison plays an astute man who's somewhat stubborn and, in a weird way, rude, because he's more occupied about getting this experiment done than Elias's divergence. Colin Baker plays a vampire around the time when the vampire Time Lord War was... yes, that's real. Happened, and he's very ruthless. A little akin to it, but that's just because Colin was more of the brash one, but he's pure evil, but still fun to listen to. Sylvester McCoy, again, subtly, he's kind of there. He's somewhat kind of a clown, but he basically plays an insane ripoff of Walt Disney. No, I can't explain that. The vampire thing and the priest scientist are somewhat easy to stretch out with those. We'll make it Walt Disney. But he's fun. That's the thing. It's a tough story to talk about, and I've gotten a request for it. I will say this. I will mention the fact that Zagreus is very mixed. There are people who love it. There are people who think it is an abomination because it is simply this giant kind of like almost 4-hour long insane adventure that goes into strange places, and that's why I love it. It's fun. Seeing where they go next and how they try and make sense of all this and what's going on is great. Seeing all these people show, and that's another thing. It's also regarded more as a cameo fest than anything. I can see that, but it's still fun to see. It's fun to see these people. It's fun to see all these actors, especially the ones I love, like McCoy, Baker, and all that, play these different characters. And most of them are subtly similar to the characters they're known for, but are still, like, written very differently, and the actors own it every time. McGann's... I love McGann. I love the fact... Because McGann gets to play so many different kinds of characters. He has to play the normal 8th Doctor. He has to play Zagreus. He has to play a psychotic doctor dealing with Zagreus, who's slowly losing his mind and is fearful for it and for what's going to happen to Charlie. If there are a few things, there is this thing with the Tardis that basically the Tardis, though is helpful at the beginning, becomes evil due to what's really manipulating all this in the end. And the TARDIS takes the form of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. And beautifully done by Nicholas Courtney throughout most of it. But once it's revealed that the TARDIS has now become evil, and the TARDIS gets on this weird kind of complaint, like this weird streak of complaints about how we're going with she because, you know, we're using the A, she's always been addressed as a she, and B, the Doctor's wife confirms it. We need to... It's this weird kind of rant she has over, like, how she kind of got sick of companions, didn't fully like the idea that the Doctor brought these people in like stray dogs, and it just seems weird. I can't say it's out of character because we don't know much about the TARDIS's character, but I just found it kind of odd, especially when you have the like complaining dialogue that a girl would complain about being said by a very old British man who's cooler when he's complaining about aliens that can't be shot down. That part's weird. But all in all, the thing, again, this is not one you start out with. This is one that you need to listen to at least listen to Neverland first, but I think you need to get others that take place before this with Charlie and the Doctor to get more of what a regular adventure with them is. Because this is very much like a big finale to a season. This at Neverland formed like this giant finale that I think you need to start in a quieter place. A better starting point would be, though I haven't listened to it yet, I've been told Storm Warning might be a better place. Do that. I need to do that soon. I don't know why I didn't even do it in the first place, because Big Finish had a sale a while back. But yeah, I think it is fun. Is it perfect? Not entirely, but I think it's a very serviceable celebration for Big Finish for the 40th anniversary, because it was also released around that time. I think it's a very entertaining product. Not a great thing, but I think it's done well.